Welcome everyone. I hope you'll come along with me. This is Carol from Crinkled Path Journals, and I'll be doing another episode in my 1980s memory keeping altered cookbook junk journal. So I hope you have a few minutes to stick around and let's get going. When I was about 10 years old, which would have been 1979, I was allowed to start babysitting a 4 or 5-year-old across the street because my parents could run over if I needed to call them and needed help. And that was the starting age for babysitters at that point in time. I don't think my own daughter started babysitting until they were in maybe 7th or 8th grade, so a little bit older than 10. But I had taken this babysitter course with the scouting group that I was in, and I earned my babysitting badge. And so I have a little paper copy here of a babysitting badge or baby badge. I really loved little children. I always kind of had a knack for hanging out with them and entertaining them. So I just kind of naturally gravitated towards hanging out with kids and taking care of kids. Now I've got this, did you ever see a Lassie song page? And I was thinking about making a pocket out of it. Try and fold it first. It has lots of tape on it. So it's very well reinforced, kind of like it was shredded at one point and somebody put it back together. That seems like something I would have taken to babysitting with me that got destroyed by kids and I put it back together. So it seemed like the right fit for the page to start. So I started babysitting for the neighbors across the street. I kept babysitting for them for many years and then started babysitting for their friends. And every summer I would go on vacation with them. The two families would vacation together and they would rent a cabin in the Lake Tahoe area. I would hang out with them all day, keep the kids entertained at the beach or on a hike or whatever we were doing. And then at night, I would make the kids dinner and put them to bed, and they would go out for dinner and go out to different shows. There's kind of on the Nevada state line, there are a lot of casinos and restaurants and entertainment shows, and big name artists would come and play at the different places. So they would enjoy that, and they had built-in babysitting for the whole week. They didn't have to ride the paddle boats or pedal boats on the lake or dig in the sand if they didn't want to. They could sit on the edge of the beach and enjoy their book. I really liked going because I liked the families and I liked the kids. So it worked out kind of for all of us. Let's see. I think I'm going to put a little sticker up here. And so back to the babysitter class. I had to learn basic first aid and CPR. On the last night of the class, you were supposed to bring a baby with you to class to show that you could change a diaper, give a baby a bath, and different things like this. I honestly, at the time that I took the class, did not have anybody in my life who had just had a baby. I was just kind of racking my brain, like, who do I know that has a baby? And all I could think of was there was a little girl who was, I think, 2 or 3 years younger than me at school. And they went to our church. I knew she had had a baby brother. One day I asked her at school, do you think your parents would let me borrow your baby brother? I don't know. I was 9, I think, when I took the class. At 9 years old, it didn't even occur to me that that might be a kind of odd thing to ask, but it didn't seem odd to her either. Well, let me ask my mommy. And sure enough, I ended up getting her phone number, and she said, my mom said to call her, and so I did. And then the night of the baby class, I went to their house, picked up this baby in the car seat, and the mom said, I'm fine with you taking him as long as my daughter, which she was 6 or 7, can go along with you. And my mom was like, that's fine. And I just think of it now and it just makes me laugh because I can't imagine sending my baby off with a 9-year-old and her mother and just sending my 6-year-old along for supervision. But I have talked to her actually as an adult not too long ago and reminded her of that and how much it just blessed my socks off that she entrusted me to do that. Here, I stuck a baby pin through this card. I thought that diaper pin. I thought that would be fun. I brought the baby to class and we gave him a bath in I think it was a foot washing tub from the church where we had the classes. And yeah, it was super fun. Of course, was a very happy little babysitter for many years. Thanks to the class, I could tell people that I was certified and had all these safety things. You know, I think I'm just going to make journaling cards out of these and maybe layer them to flip and write on the back. So one of the things about babysitting that my idea of babysitting was that I would always come with some kind of supplies for babysitting. So I would bring arts and crafts supplies. So I kind of pulled some arts and crafts supply things here. I would bring games. And this is kind of serves two purposes, arts and crafts and a game piece. I would bring books. If they needed help with something with homework, I would help them with that. Like I have a little flashcard, time flashcard here. But parents loved it because I didn't just show up, eat their food, watch TV, and ignore their kid. Most of them really appreciated it. Okay, now I'm thinking I should have put the pin in the other side. Maybe I'll put this one up here since I've got the baby feet up there. And then I can use these here. Sometimes I have to stop telling stories just so I can get the page where I want it. Talking and crafting at the same time is probably the hardest skill of YouTubing. So I thought it was funny when my girls started babysitting. They definitely took a trick from Mom's old books. And I would suggest to them that they take something to do with the kids from home. And, you know, we always had games or craft supplies for them to take. And then they one-upped me and they made a bunch of craft kits so that when they would go, they would just go through the craft kits that they had pre-made. They would just grab according to the age of the child. We have kind of a blue and yellow theme going on here, although there is some green in here. But I think I'm just going to glue these on here to have this as my journaling base. This is too tall for that. Maybe I'll leave that one since it's got Big Bird on the back of it. This one I don't mind losing the watch because we have the clock on the other side. 4th grade, I started taking flute lessons and I rented an instrument from the school. After 1 year of babysitting, I had saved up the $300 to buy my own flute, and I felt like that was a really big accomplishment. I wish I could remember what I got paid an hour. I remember for the week in Tahoe, I think it was $100 when I was only taking care of one kid, and then it went up to like $150 when I was taking care of two. And that was like a pretty good deal because I would walk away with a week's worth of $100 pay, and I would also just really enjoy my time going to Tahoe and getting to do all the fun things his family was doing with their own kids. Not all kids I babysat were as pleasant to babysit as the families that I went on their summer vacations with. I had a family from our school when I was in high school. They were English as a second language speakers, and they were furriers. They made fur coats and things. And they had two very rambunctious youngsters, I would say early elementary age. And those kids were such stinkers. The little boy he was maybe 7 or 8, and he had made his own pair of homemade nunchucks. They're like sticks with a chain in the middle that you swing around, and it's a martial arts thing. He would swing those nunchucks at me, and they didn't allow you to wear shoes in the house, and so I would take my shoes off, and then the kids would steal my shoes and hide them. I would find them in the freezer. I would find them out in the garage where they had all their furrier stuff. And you'd go out there and it would just be all these furs stacked up. So I pretty freaked out by that too. But they really wanted me to do some tutoring with their kids, but I don't think I stuck with that job very long. It was very stressful to take care of kids who were constantly trying to sabotage you. I was just telling my son-in-law, he had posted a photo somewhere. He had shared somebody else's post with a DeLorean in the picture. I commented back to him because I had babysat for a dentist family and he owned a DeLorean. So before I could drive, my parents would take me and drop me off wherever I was babysitting. But then parents would stay out late and my parents wouldn't want to come back and get me. So I'd always just arrange for the parent to bring me back home when they got home. And then once I could drive, I got myself there and back, of course. But this dentist would drive me home in the DeLorean, and it was the most smoothest ride of a car I'd ever felt. And I didn't know how to open the doors, don't have handles, traditional handles, and so he'd have to open and close the doors for me because I was at a loss. I remember being super quiet on the rides home because I was just in awe of being in this car and how smooth of a ride it had. And thankfully, the parents, they were always people from our church or our school. And so they were usually people my parents knew. Thankfully, even though I had some stinkerish kids that I babysat for, I always had nice parents to work for. Making some little hinges put on here. Did you have a odd job that you did, or an extra job that you did when you were not of working age, I guess? Put it that way. The working age has changed over the years, but did you have a babysitting job? Or like my good friend on the street, he mowed all the lawns in the neighborhood. His dad made sure he meticulously washed his lawnmower after the day that he would mow, and he'd have to rake up all of the grass and sweep the sidewalk. His dad made sure he was producing a quality product as well. So how did you make some extra money when you were a kid or a young teen? Paper routes were still a thing when I was that age, but I didn't know anybody who was doing paper routes. Well, after all my years babysitting, it's not a surprise that I ended up going into pediatrics when I was studying physical therapy, and that's my day job, which I've been away from my day job for quite a while since having shoulder surgery, although I am much closer to being on the mend and have started back doing some consulting and assessments. And then I have a year left until I retire, end of January 2024. And then I will still be all about kids because I will be a full-time nana. No, part-time nana. I mean, I'll be nana all the time, but I will only be babysitting my grandchild a couple days a week. But I'm super excited about being able to do that. And the baby is due Mother's Day, if she makes it that long. And we don't know what we're having. For those of you who participated in my contest at Christmas time, you might remember that that's a big life thing happening in our family. Not sure it's a big enough hinge to go all the way around both cards. Well, an absolutely fulfilling thing that I ever did with my life was being a mom, and still close to my girls. And we've been in a season between the older one being pregnant and rejoicing over that, and then our younger one battling ovarian cancer right now. My mom heart has been tugged in a couple very strong directions recently, but I'm so glad to have them in my life. Okay, I think I'm just going to go ahead and put this on here, my little patch. And somewhere in my barn, I have a memorabilia box with both my husband's sash with all his patches and mine. And then I've got these little pull pieces where I can write on the back. And let's see what the babysitter pledge was. Somebody hand typed it and then mimeographed it. I have one of the most responsible jobs in the world. I'm in charge of a priceless possession. I don't think children are a possession, but I know what they're definitely priceless. I'll be awake, alert, and watchful during my entire duties, prepared to meet any emergency or accident or illness. I'll know how and where to call the doctor, police, fire department, the place where the parents are, and a near neighbor. I can properly care for simple burns and cuts and bruises, and I'll be careful entering a new home. My surroundings, I'll observe. Is it possible to correct anything that could cause an accident? I won't let my charges play around stoves, electrical appliances, or upon stairways. I'll feed my charges only what mother specifies. I'll lock outside doors after parents leave and will not open them to strangers. I won't permit the children to play with matches, knives, other sharp objects, or unsafe toys. I will faithfully follow other instructions from the parent. I will not entertain friends without the permission of my employers. I am fully aware that the child's life is in my hands and will do all in my power to protect that life. And this was put on by the Sacramento area chapter Red Cross. And they also came in and did our CPR class. And we had a manual and everything for how to take care of baby. So that's my page for today. I hope you will share what jobs you did to maybe make some money when you were a kid. And if you have any babysitting interesting stories to share about maybe your shoes were hidden in a freezer, or you were attacked at the shins by nunchucks, or was that just me? But please share your story. I think your stories matter, and I share mine bravely so that hopefully you will share yours. I'll talk to you in the next video, and thank you for coming along today. Thank you to my new subscribers. Welcome. I hope you'll come back again. And thank you to all the faithful viewers who come back time and time again and leave such sweet comments. I appreciate it so much. Bye-bye.